let me just check something real quick. Let me pull up that website and then we should be good to go. We'll just jump right in. So let me just make sure it's running on Twitch. This was a problem. Please, please, it's working. It sucks because I don't have anybody else I could ask about this because I was asking one of my friends, like, why are you asking me? You're the stream expert, Sam. You should know how to do this. I'm like, yeah, thanks for the help. Like that's legitimately his was his answer because he's quote unquote my stream manager because he does reaching out and all that stuff and then balancing the books. And yeah, it's like I don't know. I don't even know who to tell you to ask. Figure it out yourself. All right, thanks. Good talk.
Good talk.
Yeah, this is going to be different because I cannot see the chat. So I need to have that up. And I already submitted a ticket from earlier. I'm pretty sure I won't hear back until after I get back from Vegas. So we'll see if they fix that. At least if I like, if it allows me to stream under another account, even though I'm logged in under mine, but it doesn't let me see the chat for it. So that's a little bit weird. I'll have to minimize the window so I can keep this open. But you ready to get started?
I'm ready.
All right. Hello, NDL. It's Thursday, a little earlier than we're used to for the Outliers. Normally we're on Friday nights, but due to a certain coach's bachelor party and wedding, for that matter, too, the next 2 weeks will be recording on Thursday after BB&B. So, Mr. Vic, how are you doing, sir?
I'm all right. How you doing? How you doing? How's everyone doing tonight?
Hopefully good. Um,
Hopefully so.
feel bad for Freak. I already chatted with him like right after the game was
Mac.
over. He's a good dude. I like you. I know that everyone does, so I can't even say I feel bad for it. But everyone has their favorites in the league. You know, guys that you enjoy watching, or guys that you talk to, or you want to see do well. And
Yeah.
Freak would be one of on my list. And to see him lose sucks. To see him lose in the manner that he did for the last two episodes of BB&B he was on kind of sucks. Like I hate losing close games because I feel like it just frustrates you more than getting beat by three scores or more. But man, brutal for that man. But kudos to him for hopping on and interviewing after. I know it can't be easy, but he's a good dude.
That he is. He is a good dude. And that was a very good episode of BB and Me today.
Yeah, we can start with that before we even jump into Group Five stuff.
Go right
The
ahead.
original, the founder of the NDL, Mr. Jeff Moe, the special guest. As we were talking before, I had a hunch if I had to guess that would have been my guess, but I wasn't 100% sure. I've kind of been out the loop. You know, there's been I've had to do a lot of stuff the last couple of days, so I haven't been able to be in the live chat as much. But really cool to see. I had the episode on. I didn't get to see all of the game, but I had the audio on the whole time, so I heard everything. And really cool to see one that Jeff is still doing well, two that uh it is nice to see him on with some of the with the older vets, guys that he's interacted with. Some obviously more than others if you're listening to the episode. Um, really, really cool. I didn't get to interact with him much, which I guess could be a good or a bad thing if you look at it. Because if you got that message on AIM, it'd kind of be the same thing now if Niddler messaged you. My first thought would be, what did I do wrong? Did I mess something up? Do I want to open this right now? But it's really cool. He's a good dude, and hey, hopefully at the next convention, since it will be out there in Nashville, be able to meet him in person. That'd be pretty cool. Oh, before I go, because I have a different take. What are your thoughts on the episode in general?
I think it was a great episode. As a newer coach, um, it was interesting. It was interesting to hear the stories and stuff like that, and hear how the process worked and how the league got started. That part was fascinating. Did enjoy that part. Um, Kind of wish the game was a little better so the game can get talked about. Felt like the game got a little bit overshadowed, but it was a special guest, so sometimes that does happen. Um, but overall, it was a good episode.
Yeah, the one thing that I definitely took from the episode, and one of the reasons why I am a big fan of the NDL, is I'm a big community guy. I don't know if I told you this, Vic, but I've run leagues in the past, and man, being in charge of a league is a major headache. I feel like it's something I can't even enjoy playing my games because I feel like there's always something to worry about. Are these guys going to get along? This guy may have, kind of skirt the rules. Am I going to have to hear about this while I'm at work? Can I relax on a night out without something crazy happening? What am I coming to when I look at the message boards? Like I feel like there's just always something to worry about. And the one thing that I think that puts the NDL above all the other leagues that I've been in, both on both sides, like mainly though, just speaking as a member of the league, just as a player, is the community. There are so many guys here that I interact with. Some, definitely more than others. Really cool. Enjoy taking my breaks at work and just popping in the Discord and see what's happening. CG in the good morning on that first break while I'm grumpy as hell, even though I'm a couple hours into my shift. Um, Whatever is being talked about when I get off work at noon. So I'm one of those people that misses all the messages, but then I still try to go through and read it anyway because I just want to see, well, who's talking? Oh, these people are talking. Well, I want to see what they have to say, what was going on. Like there's a lot of cool guys that I interact with, and I think that definitely takes precedence for me. Like, yes, I would like to win. I'm sure if you've been in my streams, my frustration with losing definitely is a little higher at times than others, but it goes away. And then I'm back to just being my normal self. Like in the moment, get frustrated and then you just hop out of it like, cool, well, that loss happened or that win happened. Stats, recap, move on. Doesn't change how I think about other people, doesn't change how I feel about other people. And that's like, to me, that's what really makes this league stand out. Like so many people they feel that. I know everyone's not going to get along. There's over 130 people in this league, difference of opinion, different personalities. It is what it is. Not everybody's for everybody, but I really like the community aspect of the league, and I think having Jeff on there and just talking, hear some of the reminiscing about stuff. I know it's a different one thing that I know that we talked about a little bit before. It's different now than it was playing games 20 years ago. There are it's just a different world. I don't even want to talk about like the players themselves. It's just a different world. Growing up, like there's people like El Jefe who this is really all he knows. Like him and MJ Kemp, like Boss Ranger, Sergeant Lingus, versus like some of us grew up with our first online experience being NFL 2K1 on the Dreamcast. So we like the internet is different, the content out there is different, the way that we consume content is very different. So a lot of things change. It's a different world, but I still think that NDL will continue to evolve. And we're in a spot right now where I think that, it's, I know RB says it in chat, it won't be what it was. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing because there's still really good people in this league that are newer people. Like the first name that comes to mind, no offense to you, I know you're my podcast partner and you probably should be the first name, but the first name that stands out to me, like if I think of what the NDL represents, and you asked me to look at the newer coaches that came in this game, with the PS5 gen, D Kennedy is probably the first guy that comes to mind.
That's fair.
So
That's fair.
yeah, like
That's fair. That's fair. I'm not offended by that at all. I agree with you. I agree with you. People, I do love the fact that this is a community. I do co-run an online dynasty that is non-sim, and it's not too many of us in there. So, and that's hard to run. So, I can only imagine a full sim league with 100 some odd people in it. I know that's hard. And everything is hard to deal with, and you know, like Orby said, it's not like how it was. No, it's not. Probably not. I don't know. I wasn't here back then, but a lot of stuff wasn't how it was then and now. Sometimes you just have to adapt with it. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. But I will say this to put in the context. You name those younger guys, they were born after 9/11. Since today is 9/11, um, respect to all those firefighters who put their life on the line and who died for to save people's lives, and all the lives that we lost that day and the people who fought on the plane and all of that. Shout out to those people. Respect to all of those people and all of those families. But those guys were born after that. That's just to put in the context of that. Those guys were born after that day. Like some of them were born way after 9/11, 2001. So that lets you know the age gap and everything and what this group has going. But we still able to come together as one. I feel like everybody respects everybody to a T as far as gameplay is concerned and stuff like that. And most people keep it pretty much NDL. It may be some sly remarks here and there and stuff like that, but pretty much we all keep it, NDL and stuff like that. And um, competitiveness is good, but you don't want to overdo it. Now, the overdoing it that people do sometimes that can reach people to their breaking point. But overall, this is a great league. This is great to be in. We need to have fun, as much fun as possible. And just remember, like what was said on BB&B, it is just a game after all. It's just a game. It's not like we playing for money. It's just a game.
very true. And cool thing is those young guys, they're all like all those names I mentioned, they're gonna, I assume, would be in the NDL for a while. And that's a good group of guys to, lead the next generation of NDLers. Man, that's crazy to think
Right.
though. I was in high school. I remember, if I remember right, I was in my junior,
I was in middle school when it happened.
sophomore. I'm gonna be wrong.
I
I
was
think I was a sophomore in science class when that happened, and literally that was just the whole day, class to class. They had it on the TV, and my first thought, like my dad's in the military,
in,
my first thought was when I got home, like, what the hell is going on? I know you know something. Tell me.
in, interesting story I have about that day. This shows you how much a certain state cared about New York. I'm originally from Louisiana. I live in Texas, but I'm originally from Louisiana. I was in the seventh grade when that happened. I was in middle school. The only record, the only recognition that I have that happened, ironically enough, it happened in American history class.
Oh,
And my teacher was so upset by it. I'm in seventh grade. I don't know nothing about none of that stuff yet. So we just was like, okay. They didn't have it on the TV. They didn't let us look at none of the coverage. We didn't see anything that whole day until you got home. I didn't know it was that bad until I got home and it was on every station. And then I go to ESPN and they say, "Oh, all the games are canceled this weekend." What? So I can't watch that. I ca- I, I can't watch no. I can't watch my football. Everything was canceled, and then that's when they said that I was like, "Oh, this must really be a big deal." So I went through all the channels again. It was like, "Oh yeah, this is a big deal," and
everyone's talking about it. Yep.
everybody's talking about it. But it was surprising that my school didn't tell us, didn't let us watch. They didn't let us do anything. We really didn't know outside of my one teacher talking about it. He was the only one the whole day that talked about it,
Hmm.
which it was very odd. It was the oddest thing knowing what we know now. It was the oddest thing to me that day that he didn't turn the TV on. The principal didn't come in there and turn the TV on or none of that. It's just he said it. We went on with class and we went on with the rest of the day.
Oh, yeah, that's a rough spot for a teacher for sure there.
Yeah, yeah. But it was ironically enough American history when the exact when the second plane happened. I was in American history class.
Hmm. Man, I don't even know if that was talked about in the live chat at all today because I like the first time I hopped in a live chat was probably right after BB&B started.
Yeah, I haven't really been in live chat other than earlier. I think New Mexico was talking about the turquoise uniform.
New Mexico. I don't want to remember those. I don't remember that team right now. I guess since you bring that up, we'll transition over to talking about some G5 stuff. It's a short episode, so we gotta squeeze it in here. So we'll start with the top 25. So the recent top 25 on the coaches side, you've got Washington State at 17, Mr. No Way Jose with Missouri State at 20, Boise at 21, UConn, Mr. Dave at 23. Then you've got Akron 24, Tulsa 25. Coastal Carolina just missing out by 22 points. They're 26. And then looking on the coaches side going down, you got Air Force a little farther down, and the next up will be Western Michigan. And then going to the media side, of course, you got Washington State. They're 15th on that side. Missouri State moving up to 16th, so right behind Washington State, 4 points off. Boise at 20, UConn at 22, and Tulsa at 25. Akron just missing out. both. I don't know how that works for like I don't know what the tiebreaker is. I guess it'd be like more higher votes. Like I'm thinking first place votes, but I don't really have the word for it, but
I think it's like
more
average.
higher votes.
I think it's like average place of votes. Like if you're averaged out to like 15 or something like that.
That's what I'm looking for. Like I just don't know how to describe it. I'm tired. Um, so they edge out Akron with that, but they have the same amount of points. And then Air Force and Middle Tennessee are the next closest. So looking at that top 25, G5 wise, how you feeling about it?
I feel great. G5 wise, we got Washington State hovering. We got Missouri State still there. We got Boise still there, even though they're gonna drop off. We got UConn making an appearance. I knew it. I said it last week. I said UConn is gonna get there. Akron's still there, and Tulsa made its way into it now. So, and we got teams on the outside looking in: Coastal, Air Force, Middle Tennessee, um, Western Michigan even had some votes and stuff like that. Eastern Michigan had some votes. They will probably be in the top 25 before it's all said and done at the end of the year as well. So,
Yeah.
um, pretty good for the G5.
Well, we'll start with the Sun Belt. Take a kind of brief picture snapshot of the conference. I'm gonna feel bad because last week on my one of my pat on the backs was Arkansas State for turning a season around. Starting out 0-3, then hitting 3-3, and of course I jinxed him because he lost the conference game,
He did.
and I
He
was
did.
immediately mad. I don't know if it was you that I messaged or someone else. I'm like, damn it, I feel like I take some responsibility for that loss by jinxing him. So he lost to Georgia Southern. Kudos, because I'll be honest, on one side I felt bad for Dealer, but I immediately when I saw the that game go final, I immediately messaged Big Red, congrats on the win, and his response in all caps, thank fucking God. No, he was so happy to get his first win.
That is Big Red fashion right there. If you know Big Red, the swear words are coming out. They're coming out instantly. That is definitely him. Don't ever change, my friend. Don't ever change. Um, that's the same kind of sentiment I had. I was like, well, my take got cold fast because I remember you saying in the pod, you think anybody got a shot at Arkansas State or catching them in the standings? And all I said was no. And that aged pretty well now, didn't it? Nah, it really didn't as soon as that happened. But I do feel good for Big Red. Um, it's gonna be tough to see if App State takes a loss. We're gonna talk about them, or yeah, we're gonna talk about them in a little bit about previewing the next block of games. But um, if they take a loss, that does open the door for Georgia State on the East Division. Now, with the West Division, a lot of the games haven't been played. So once those games get played, everything will settle itself out. And then we'll see if Dealer will truly get challenged in that West Division.
Yeah, he's got two big games coming up. Well, I guess three. His Southern Miss, Toro only has one conference loss. Hasn't played a ton of games yet, but still mathematically in it. But really, the ones that I'm looking at are those last two. App State obviously is a big game because we were talking about the potential of it being a rematch, and then Ninja Nano. He's only got one game played so far. I don't know like if he has some stuff going on, but I know that he is very talented. He's a really solid user. Actually, no.
Hmm.
Wait, why does it say 0 and 1? That's weird.
I think he didn't
Because
put in a game
he's played
yet.
4. But he's 0 and 1 in conference, but altogether he's 0 and 4. That's weird because
Yeah,
yeah, that was weird. Yeah, I'm looking at the website right now. It says 0 and 1 for both. But then when I click on the team, like that can't be right. 'Cause I know I've seen his scores.
it may
So
be a technical issue with the website.
yeah. So he's still in the mix, even with potentially having a loss if he can beat Arkansas State. And as I said, Ninja Nano's got good user skills, so I'm really curious to see that game. It's the last block of the season too, so that will be an impactful one for sure. Um,
Yeah, that's for sure.
and then on the east side, like you said with App State, no, we're just waiting to see, and don't count out Old Dominion. Boss Rangers got one conference game in so far, but he's 3-2 on the year. He played He's going to be in games. I'm looking up right now because I can't remember. I wanted to say it was Iowa, but I want to fact check myself, and it was. He played Iowa on the road and lost by 3 to start the season. And I watched that game. There were some interesting plays that happened. We'll say just some of the EA craziness that happens, and he was able to weather a huge momentum storm, and he only lost by 3. One at Mississippi State. So like he's a good coach. He's still going to be in the running, and I'll be curious to see how he matches up when he plays App State and Georgia State. But moving on from the Sun Belt, we can just scroll up the Mountain West, still kind of sitting in a similar spot. Nevada is still 2-0 in conference play, so the front runner. San Jose State is 2-0 in conference play, so we'll have to keep our eye on them. They struggled out of conference at 1-3, but finding a home in the Mountain West. The question mark, of course, is going to be what happens with that next tier of teams. Hawaii, Boise State, and Air Force. They all have 2 losses, losses against each other, too. So I still would say that Nevada is the front runner. The question is who's going to get that second spot. San Jose State definitely has a leg up because they are undefeated in conference play. They've already got 2 wins. And looking at their schedule, they do play Nevada and play Air Force as well. But one of those 2 wins is against Hawaii. So that might be an important tiebreaker if it comes down to it. Your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, my guy AK at San Jose State is a very good user. He's gonna do well with that team. Glad to see him undefeated. Him and Nevada are pretty good users. You still got Black Rain with 1-0. Wyoming picked up a good conference win. They definitely struggled out of conference, but they picked up a good conference win there, 1-0. And then you got the jumble effect with Hawaii, Boise, Air Force. You got Big Z, you got Beer Cop, you got Wobbles, all with 2 losses. Um, if I had to say anybody, now that I'm looking at the standings and I'm looking at the schedules and stuff like that, 2 losses in conference may have you done depending on the tiebreaker. But we will see because those guys that are undefeated, two and O's, one and two 1 and O's. So not enough games played yet to really get a full scope of the conference. It's been a little bit of a lull, I'll say, this block when it came to games. So hopefully everybody get their games in. Excuse me. Hopefully everybody get their games in and everything like that, and everything will work itself out. But I think it's Pirates to lose at this point. That's That's how I'm looking at this conference. Is Pirates to lose at this point. He has this team going. Run game, of course, is going to be strong. Passing game is coming together. Like I said, AK with the passing game of San Jose State. That's something to watch out for. That pass game is very lethal, and they got a couple underrated running backs on that team as well, with Chalk and Bates at that team. Black Rain is always tough. One of the toughest opponents you will play in this league is Black Rain. He will give every ounce of the 77, 78 overall team that is UNLV. You would get all 78 of the overall playing him. That's what you will get. And of course, Jeff Daddy is tough with the Che Pono passing attack. I Rockefeller, even though he may be taking a little break this block for great reasons. Um, and of course, like I said, Big Z is nothing to be afraid of as well. So that whole conference as a whole is good from top to bottom. It's one of the best conferences, G5 wise, top to bottom. And like I said, once everybody gets their games played, it'll figure itself out. But it's Pirates conference to lose, basically.
Yeah, San Jose State definitely will be an interesting dark horse because they already played Hawaii, got the win, and then you're gonna play Nevada and Wyoming, who both are undefeated, and then you got Air Force and San Diego State. So definitely opportunity to create some distance, or unfortunately let people get back, pull your, fall back into the pack. It might be one of those instances where Nevada and San Jose State pretty much dictate what happens from here on out. Even if a team emerges from the two loss, they're still going to need some help because you're going to probably have to beat one of these two undefeated teams and hope that the way things fall, that they can get a loss somewhere else. And good luck with a multi-team tiebreaker. Probably what it's going to come down to in the Mountain West.
Doesn't it always? Doesn't it always? Well, another conference that we haven't spun too much on, but we're going to talk about right here is the American Conference. We haven't spun too much this whole season because it hasn't been a team that just pops out like the Missouri States or the Boise's or anybody like that that just popped out in our head G5 rise. Everybody's been kind of, you know, here and there. But we will say this, the cream rises to the top, and that's D Kane and that's Jokers. Both of those guys sitting at 2-0 in conference. You got Coach Bear who took a who took a little break this past block. Like I said, it's been a little low in games, G5 wise, in the past like block or two, but hopefully everybody to get it together. You have Shotty Mac at Charlotte with 3-1, and then Tulsa. Tulsa is right there. 5-1 overall, 2-1 in conference. Temple at 2-1. And it's a couple games I feel like, hold on, let me get that going there. It's a couple games I feel like in that conference to spotlight for the next block, and that's UTSA and USF. I feel like that's going to be a good game. I feel like those teams match up similar, and that will be a good game. I feel like whoever wins the turnover battle will definitely win that game because those teams rely on turnovers a lot. And of course, Memphis and ECU. I feel like that's going to be a track meet. Memphis's speed is sneaky good. Memphis almost has power four speed. That's how much speed they have on that team. Like it's very sneaky good. So like I said, that's the both all those teams I mentioned are teams to watch out for, and that will have some say so in the conference race. Towards the end of the season.
Yeah, it's gonna be probably the same case as it was for like talking to Mountain West and the Sun Belt. Like really, other than dealers lost, there's not a whole lot of movement, and I don't think we'll really see that probably until the next episode. So still too early to call, but definitely got my eye on some teams. And it's funny you bring up Bear Ass and Jokers. I mean, D Kane hasn't been as active in the live chat this season, but Jokers really hasn't been, and I mean we understand why. Just having a kid, and I'm sure that is an adventure in and of itself. And then Barass just in general hasn't like he's not a super active guy in live chat. So they're quietly putting together good seasons, and that'll be a fun matchup when they cross paths. But there is one game that did happen today that made me very sad. I don't know if you saw it, but
Oh, I saw the replay. I saw the replay. I already know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
I look, what do we need to do to get Drew Vaco a win? Damn it, this guy needs to get a
God
win.
damn
He
it,
was
you right.
so close.
Damn it, you so right. You were so right.
I feel like
Oh,
when I watch him, everything else stops, and like I just want him to get a win. I was on the other side of this when I had Tulane because he that season I think he went 1-11 with a sim win, and he had me on the ropes, and I'm just like, man, what is happening right now? Like, I don't know what to do. Like,
he
I like,
he
because then
had
I felt the stress of I don't want to be the one to lose. What you were saying
he,
earlier is like it's the reverse stress. Like, man, like I'd be really happy for him if he won. I just don't want to be the one that he beats to get it.
exactly. He had me on the ropes in season 32. When I was Sam Houston, I had to drive the ball down late and do a quarterback sneak just to win the game. That's how close it was. It was like a 1 point game that I pulled out, and he's definitely a tough opponent. Definitely was a tough opponent for me last season. And in this game here, he did pretty well. Like defense is defense, of course, especially in this version of this game. Defense is defense, but he pretty much in the second half held D Kane down for the most part. He came back. The lead at one point was 23-13 in the second half, and he came back and then tied the game. Could have won it, could have won it, but he definitely um, went a little conservative, didn't want to blow the game or anything like that, which is fair. That's totally fair. But kicked the game winning, game tying field goal to send it into overtime. DK went ahead and scored in overtime, and then um, Drew drove it down the field, got to about the 12 to 15 yard line, and then he had the running back open, and I told him that this is not any criticism. We talked about it and everything like that. I rewatched the game because I didn't see it live, so I rewatched most of the game, and he had the running back open on that last play. He had the running back open, but he chose to risk it, throwed it towards the end zone, and it got interception. And that's the ball game, 37-30 in overtime. Close loss for Drew. Hopefully, when he does play Navy, he will get that win.
I still believe in you, Drew. It's coming. I know
It's
it's
definitely coming.
it has
It's
to
definitely
suck to
coming.
deal with it, but it's coming, and trust me, when it does, hopefully it'll be while we're in Vegas, me and IROC, because I'll stop what I'm doing. The other people in the group will have no idea what's going on. Like, hey, everybody drink right now. Like we're
Oh,
drinking for this to win, and they're not
I
even
got
gonna
a
know
drink.
what's going on. And like, no, like, but right, I am not even joking right now. I have a drink set aside, so if I'm here
Oh,
at
me
home
too.
when he gets it, I will pop it open. I'll record it, whatever. I don't care if I go to work. I'll be fine. We're celebrating that with
Me
the buddies.
too. Me too. Me too. I'm right there. I'm right there. I got one on ice, ready, just ready for him to win. That's. I feel like if anything for the season that we need as a pod, we need Drew to get that win for the pod.
He gets that win, he's on the pod. We got to make it happen.
Oh yeah,
Got to make it
definitely,
happen.
definitely got to make that happen.
Are you guys on your podcast or y'all able to talk?
We're on. Sorry.
We all.
Y'all. Sorry guys. Talk
No,
to y'all
you're
later.
good.
All right.
I
Freak
appreciate
everybody, freak.
it. um. Well, and then it sucks because the other two conferences, like, it's really quick because we really don't have anything to go off of. Like, we're pretty much in the same spot we were the last pod. Conference USA, Missouri State still undefeated. That win against Middle Tennessee put him in the loss column. And we've got a group of teams with one loss. And then on the MAC side, you've got Eastern Michigan, who's still undefeated. Hey, though, there is one new thing. Ohio, the new coach Jordan, Andy's buddy, aka the new Tampa Bay Bucks fan addition to the league, is 2-0 in conference plays, 3-2. So kudos for
Well,
him digging in and getting those games.
I believe he's 2-1 now because I believe he played Eastern Michigan and lost. I don't think he put that on the.
It hasn't
No,
been
he
entered yet.
hasn't put that in there. He hasn't put that in yet. So
Okay.
he's actually 2-1. So it's a log jam between him as my screen blacks out. It's a log jam between him, Nadog, Chip, with one loss actually. And like I was saying last episode, Metro D just lost, by the way. They Western Michigan lost to Miami of Ohio. NTX with the clutches of drives at the end of the game threw a absolute dot for a TD. I mean, you couldn't have got it any better than he did for that pass to win the game. It was 45-42. So Metro D did take his second conference loss tonight.
It's a
But
it's a cup game.
oh, it was a cup game.
You know
Oh,
what's
see,
hilarious
never
about
mind.
this? You know what's
Never
hilarious about this?
mind.
The difference in the score is 3 points.
Hmm.
The difference in their regular season matchup, 3 points.
3 points.
But
Three
NTX
points.
lost that one, so he gets revenge in the cup.
He
And you
did.
know what
I'm
sucks?
sorry about
No,
that.
no, it is a good thing to bring up because you know what sucks about this? I remember reading in the MAC conference. I like to go through and read through, what's going on in other conferences. And
Hmm.
the MAC had three teams advance to the round of 64.
They
And like,
did. They did. I
but
saw
two
that.
of
I
them
saw
had
that
to
in the
play against each other. So
article.
like, um, friendly fire, one gets knocked out, but kudos to NTX for advancing and representing the MAC in the cup.
So, a side note, I don't know what the Beefy Cup got against the Big 12, but you can't have us all playing each other. That was just a side note about the cup. Um, but I didn't realize that was a cup game. I apologize. So apologize. So Metro D is there with 2-1. And then you got to talk about Mr. Drewski. He upset Utah in the cup earlier today. So he is a power player sitting at 1-1. I know he's gonna get his games in. I know everybody in the MAC is pretty much gonna get their games in, but it's a log jam right now, right behind Cruising. That's undefeated in conference, and then it's a log jam about three or four teams with one loss. So uh, that's that looks like it's heading for a tiebreaker situation.
Yeah, he's got an interesting finish because he'll have a road game at Akron, and then in the next block, and then the last block he'll have a home game against Chip. So definitely will have an opportunity to try to knock off the competition and see if he can claim that second spot.
That is a fact. That is a fact. And um, UConn is well. Take a look at UConn's schedule here. He is 5-0. Does just plays his games. Not really active in the live chat neither. Just plays his game. He still has that matchup with NC State that he hasn't played. He has a matchup with Oregon State that's a frisky, frisky team. And he has two teams at the end there with Kansas and Purdue that are Power Four. So if he can get past homie in NC State, do you feel like UConn can make the CFP? If he wins out, do you feel like UConn can make the CFP?
Oh, that and it would depend on. I think for me, Washington State has the advantage right now because they have the ranking. I feel like UConn would have to make up a lot of ground, so the NC State game would be huge. When they play that game, I'm not sure what for that block what NC State's rank was, but it clearly is a top, I think
They're
that's
top
like top
10 team.
15 team.
They're top 10 team currently.
But previous like two blocks ago, what were they? I mean, I guess like optics
They
wise, it won't
they
matter
were
because
they
they'll be top 10
were
now.
before the Notre Dame loss, they were number 7.
Really? Okay.
So they've pretty much been a top 10 team all year. So if he like that's why I posed the question because
It would be the best
he
win of any of the
yes.
G5 teams, period, because it's a top
Yes.
10 team on the road. Kudos to
Yes.
Missouri State against Missouri, and I know it's a lesser team, but Missouri is not doing what NC State has been doing this season. So that there will be no win, in my opinion, in the G5 more impressive than that win if he can get it, and that would go a long way. My question would be, if he were to get it, how far up would he jump in the ranking? And would that play a factor,
Mm.
you know, big
I
picture
I
when you're
I
looking at
think
the
I think because I think because it's UConn, he probably wouldn't jump too far up. I think he will probably jump up to like 15 or so, if that. But that would catapult him though. That one win, I believe, catapults him if he wins out to the CFP. Because like I said, he has a couple power forward matchups in Purdue and Kansas. But other than that frisky Oregon State team that has been proven frisky by Coach Doc, if he beats NC State, I feel like he can run the table and get into the CFP.
I definitely think he could run the table. Huh. This is an interesting one for me because this is why you have to look at the whole resume. I think this is like in my head, I'm having a what have you done of like where are you starting from and how much ground you have to make up versus what have you done? I'm looking at Washington State's schedule. They also had Purdue. You're looking at hoping that Big Z can have a strong finish to the season. He does have the loss to Washington, and is like looking at that Washington game. It's obviously going to hurt when you have the conversation. Like he really could use UConn losing. I feel like if UConn loses and they both finish
Oh, if
11-1, then I
if
would
he
go with
loses,
Washington
then
State.
yeah, yeah, I would too.
But it's
I would
just the
definitely go
value
with
of
Washington
that
State.
win is huge. It would be huge. Like I can't understate, overstate how big of a win it would be if he could beat NC State on the road. So we'll have to see. Well, I definitely have that game circled, and I'm sure we'll be revisiting this conversation afterwards. So hopefully it'll be done by, the next episode so we can have a clearer picture of what we're looking at for the CFP.
Facts. I hope so too because that's an interesting game. That's a very very interesting game.
Well, do you have any other topics that you want to talk about? I have one, but I don't think I think it'd probably be better to wait until next episode because I think I we needed to play out more before we could actually have like a legit conversation about it.
Oh, I like that. That's a tease, ladies and gentlemen. That's a tease. Um, no, I don't have anything. Shout out to the guys that are in the mix for the Heisman in my Heisman power rankings that will come out tomorrow. Um, Shout out to the G5 guys that's in the mix for that. I know it's Jacob Clark out of Missouri State and quarterback out of his name is losing me right now, but the quarterback out of Washington State and Ben Finley from Akron is there, and Noah Kim is quarterback from Eastern Michigan can be there as well. So shout out to those guys that's putting in work there that in the little hierarchy for the Heisman Trophy.
All right. Now let's add one last thing. I just have one massive pat on the back this week. I don't have any specific coaches. I mean, I guess if I did, it would be Drew, but I kind of already, gave him that. Shout out, listening to BB&B and talking about community and listening to Jeff talk. Shout out to the guys that are having struggling seasons in terms of wins and losses. And the reason I say that is this. It is really easy, you know, everyone everyone has, their life outside of the NDL. And it's very easy to commit time to the NDL when things are going well and how define well however you want to personally for yourself. I think optically it probably is easiest for most people to assume wins and losses. So kudos to the guys that are not having great seasons in terms of the win-loss record, but are actively playing their games, that are actively in chat and helping to add to the community. Just want to give you guys some love because without you guys, no league, and I mean no league that I've ever been in has ever been successful without those guys. Because it's one thing to, it's easy to find ways to not make time for it when things aren't going well. I've seen it time and time again. It's like, man, you get that one loss, that second loss, and then all of a sudden, uh, you know, life got busy, this happens. Like, I understand life is life, but kudos to those guys that are able to tough it out and still be super active and add to the league. Because without you, the NDL isn't going to be what it's going to be. Community first.
Community first, definitely community first, and the last thing, of course, is the ball knower fact of the week. This ball knower fact is about a player. Um, Do you know the name Troy Davis by chance?
I feel bad because when you said Davis, immediately my head went to Chris Davis. Oh,
I know,
oh,
right? Pick six, baby. Pick six.
oh,
Kick six. I'm sorry, kick six.
I do not.
Well, Troy Davis was one of the first running backs who ever rushed for 2,000 yards in back to back seasons.
Wow,
He did it in 1995 and 1996. He was a All American twice,
he better be.
and yeah, and he was uh, first team All Big Eight and Big 12. Random, I know, very random. But the Big 12 formed in 1996, so that's how that happened. Do you know who he played for? I gave you the conference. Do you know who he played for?
So this is where I'm going to join the younger group, I call them the El Jefe bunch, because that's beyond my years. I was too young, so I do not know who he. I know of the Big Eight, but I've actually never looked to see who was in the conference. I have no idea.
So Troy Davis went back to back 2,000-yard seasons at Iowa State.
Really,
Yep. He ran for 2,010 yards in 1995 and 2,185 yards in 1996.
that's impressive.
And he finished fifth and second in the Heisman. Fifth in 95, second in 96. Danny Werfel beat him out in 96.
How do you feel about that?
I don't. I don't.
I know you're an
I don't.
FSU fan, so I just had to ask.
Definitely, definitely don't. And feel no. That's that's a whole nother subject. But we talking about Troy Davis. Troy Davis, shout out to you. He is a college football Hall of Famer. He is the ball knower fact of the week.
I'm gonna add something here. Since we're talking about running backs, and obviously, running backs aren't having the, film off of Ashton Genty seasons that we've seen on last year's game, for the most part. Not like that, crazy, crazy, crazy. I always find it interesting when it comes to Heisman voting. Watching it how it played out in real life with Genty versus Travis Hunter. I'm well aware of, like, I know I try not to acknowledge them. I live in the state. It's impossible not to, unfortunately. But I like Travis Hunter's a really good player. I watched him play. Like, I know he's no bum at all. Much respect to him. It was interesting watching the discourse for Genty because I feel like maybe it's my NFL fandom coming into the picture, but I feel like running backs, even their production gets devalued because are looked at as a dime a dozen. I personally would have
For
voted for
sure.
Genty because I feel like as a defense, it's easier to scheme, in my opinion. Now I could be wrong about this. So the coaches could definitely, the coaches in the league could definitely, they could definitely disagree with me and explain why. But I feel like like just thinking about in the video game sense. So I guess try to extrapolate that to real life. I would much rather deal with a running back who's going insane versus a quarterback because the quarterback, it's you have to get to the quarterback. And there's so many ways of trying to prevent that from happening. And how you use your receivers, the way you run your offense, it can be really difficult to stop a passing attack. I would much rather deal with a running back because the whole group of 11 players, the sole purpose is getting to that guy and getting him down. So for me, I'm just always more impressed with, what Barry Sanders did at Okie State, watching Adrian Peterson in the NFL the season that he had. Like just for me personally, I'm really impressed watching a running back do that because I know the defensive coordinator is just at all night, all week is like, we have to stop this one player. Everyone has to stop him, and they're still able to have that success. Kudos to the offensive line too. But man, that's crazy. Fifth and running for 2,000 yards. I'm guessing that team must not have had a great season. That's crazy to me.
Oh no, those was state teams. I think 95 they went like I think 7-5, 7-4, because that was back in the days where you only had 11 regular season games and the team was pretty average. So yeah, but fifth, 95 rushing for 2,000 yards and second rushing for 2,100 yards. Genty did work. If Genty would have won, that wouldn't have mattered to me because Genty had 100 yards against Penn State. He had 100. He had shit. He almost had 200 yards against Oregon. So he did it no matter the competition. That didn't matter. He was him basically. But the one thing you forgot to mention about Travis Hunter, he's CB1 and he was wide receiver one. That is the rarest of rare.
Oh no, no discredit to Hunter. I was just focusing just on the running back aspects. I feel like even if it would
Oh
have been
no,
a
no, for
quarterback
sure.
that had a
No,
great
no,
number.
no, for sure.
Yeah, because
No, no,
I
I
feel like
agree.
they're just like Travis Hunter had a great year. Like I would have voted for Genty, but I was not disappointed by Hunter winning. I think for me it was the narrative that was tied to Genty was what bothered me. Like it was discredited because
See
he
those were people who didn't watch because you had to stay up till like damn near 1 in the morning for that Oregon game. Cause I did. That Oregon game was before I joined the league, and cause I was like week 2 or week 3. I think it was the same time as this year. I think week 3. They played Oregon at Oregon. It was like a 10 o'clock kickoff, and it was on Peacock, and like ain't nobody doing that. You
that's
know what I'm saying? Like didn't nobody watch that.
that's one thing
So it
I
was
miss about
like
living on the West Coast. I miss just like I'm up until usually.
it it wasn't even that. It's the fact that you had to have had Peacock to actually watch it because it was a Peacock exclusive. It wasn't the NBC Saturday night game that was multicast. No, it was a Peacock exclusive that aired at 10 o'clock. I think 9:30 my time. I'm Central Time, so like 9:30, 9:45 Central Time, and it didn't get go off to like almost 1 in the morning. So nobody really saw that game. So when people discredited him, it's because they didn't watch that game. He ran up through all around Oregon. Like I said, he almost ran for 200 against them. So it didn't matter the competition.
Gotcha. Well, we're gonna table this because with your Heisman list, we're gonna have a conversation about a player, and we're gonna bring this topic back up. And I'd like to hear your thoughts on it because I have some thoughts too. But we'll go ahead and call it for now. We'll be back on for sure next Thursday. We won't be able to do Friday next week. Um, I won't be like why I won't be here.
Yes.
I don't know if we'll be able to sneak in an extra one, because I don't know, getting back from Vegas, I'm sure I will be busy, maybe helping out with some of that stuff, along with having to work every day up until his wedding. So yeah, I that might be a little difficult, but we'll see if we can squeeze in another episode. But with that, we'll sign off. Thanks for listening, guys, and we'll catch you next time.
Catch you next time.